Hi everyone, Ta here. So I really like the redesign of the entire Pixel lineup this year, especially with the Pro models. This is the Pixel 9 Pro XL, which is a little boxier than last year's 8 Pro, but still roughly the same size. The matte finish on the back means no fingerprints, while the flat polished sides add a good amount of grip. The iconic camera bar has also evolved into this camera pill and now stands on its own instead of blending into the sides of the phone. Minor detail, but I love that it continues the Pixel tradition of not wobbling when you use it on a table. Look, it's a familiar design. Most people, myself included, will quickly point out how much it looks like an iPhone clone. But based on the feedback I've gotten both online and through friends, a lot of people seem to like the mix of familiarity with Google's own spin on it. The 6.8-inch display is one of the, if not the best in the business, and is brighter than last year too now, hitting up to an impressive 3000 nits at peak brightness. Plus, with a 2000 nits high brightness mode, it handles direct sunlight really well too now. What I'd really love to see is more brands adopting the anti-reflective coating that Samsung uses on the S24 Ultra. Cutting down on reflections would probably make a bigger difference for outdoor visibility than just adding more brightness at this point. Small detail, but the camera cutout is a little more prominent to accommodate the upgraded selfie camera. It does sit lower as well, so you might notice that the status bar is a bit chunkier compared to other phones. The Pixel now officially has my favorite biometric setup, hands down, thanks to the upgrade to an ultrasonic fingerprint scanner. It's way more reliable and won't blind you at night anymore. Plus, the AI-powered face unlock is still available. Pixels are still the only Android phones that offer a secure face unlock, which means you can actually use it with banking apps or password managers. The face unlock is still fairly useless in low light though, since it just uses the selfie camera without any extra sensors. But hey, that's what the fingerprint scanner is for. The sound is better than the 8 Pro, and on their own, the speakers are fairly good, clearer, and with less of that muffled low end, but speaker balance is still a bit off. The bottom speaker is slightly louder than the earpiece speaker, which is fine when you're holding it vertically, but when you switch to landscape, it's kind of odd having one side slightly louder than the other. It's not drastic, but something I noticed right away. I know they're using a new modem this year, so I was curious how it stacks up against last year's. Running speed tests with both phones on the same carrier in the same spot, I'm consistently seeing better speeds on the Pixel 9 Pro XL, which is great news. The processor powering this phone is Google's own Tensor G4 chip. It's a topic that has sparked a lot of divided opinions. On one hand, in real-world use, the performance is amazing, apps load super quick, and in general, it's a very smooth experience. So yeah, it's hard to argue against its performance in everyday tasks. They even added a vapor chamber now to help prevent overheating and to make this phone a little more reliable for those longer gaming sessions. On the other hand, the argument is that you're paying flagship prices, so you should be getting flagship level performance. The fact is, in benchmarks, the phone just doesn't score as high as Samsung's top tier phones, and for some power users, that's a deal breaker. One thing I've noticed is when you snap a bunch of photos in a row, the phone takes a bit of time to process each one before you can really see the final result. If you take a lot, you'll find yourself waiting fairly long. Would a faster processor help speed that up? I can't say for sure, but probably, right? Also, longevity-wise, a phone with more processing power should perform better 3, 4, 5 years down the road. So yeah, while I don't think performance is an issue per se, it's still an area that Google can definitely improve upon for the Pixel 10. Battery life has been a noticeable jump over last year. With the Pixel 8 Pro, I was coming home with like 30% battery. With the Pixel 9 Pro XL, I'm ending days with like 40 to 45% now. So yeah, I could see myself squeaking out an extra hour or two with this phone. It's not quite as efficient as the Galaxy S24 Ultra or iPhone 15 Pro Max, but I'd say it's still easily an all-day battery for most people. Standby battery drain is also extremely impressive, draining about 2 to 3% every night for me. The XL model also has the fastest charging speeds out of all the Pixels this year, reaching up to 37 watts. It can go from 0 to 70% in 30 minutes, which is a very nice bump from the 0 to 50% from last year's model. The camera hasn't changed a ton from last year, but it's still my go-to for taking photos. Sure, some will argue that the Galaxy S24 Ultra or iPhone 15 Pro Max are better, but honestly, I've used them all and I prefer how the Pixel's shots look. I'm always amazed at how some of the most effortless shots of my kid end up looking way better than expected. Seriously, this is a great camera for parents. The biggest upgrade is the new 42 megapixel selfie camera with a wider field of view. I wasn't a fan of the selfie camera on last year's model, but they finally fixed the processing. That said, portrait mode is still the camera's weak spot. The edge detection is just not there, and it's been that way for a few generations now. Video is pretty good too. It might not be on the same level as the latest iPhones, but it'll more than get the job done. When I rewatched some of the videos I shot, not once did I think it wasn't good enough. This also has a video boost feature where it uploads your recording to the cloud and boosts the video quality for you. The biggest issue with it is that you have to manually turn it on every single time before you start recording a video, and I almost always forget to do so, especially when I'm just trying to capture something in the heat of the moment. Every year, Google adds some cool new camera features. I might not use every single one all the time, but I think of them like a toolbox. Sometimes you don't use a specific tool much, but when you need it, it's a total lifesaver. That's how I see these camera features. Add Me is new this year, and it solves the classic problem of leaving the person taking the photo out of the shot. At first, I thought it was just a gimmick, but honestly, I love it now. It's right up there with features like Best Take or Face on Blur as some of the most useful camera tools. It definitely makes the Pixel even better for capturing those perfect moments. I'll admit, I'm a One UI girl at heart because Samsung was my first experience with Android, but I've grown to really appreciate the simplicity that Pixel UI offers. It still bugs me that they don't allow folders in the app drawer or let us remove the search or at a glance widget, but those are minor annoyances. Every single tech company is rushing to see who can offer the coolest and most useful AI features. So let's quickly break down what Google's bringing to the table this year. Keep in mind that most, if not all of these, will probably come to older Pixel phones eventually, so they aren't exactly exclusive to the Pixel 9 series. The completely revamped weather app now includes AI insights at the top for a more digestible format. It's a nice redesign, but let's be honest, checking the weather isn't exactly all that complicated to begin with. Pixel Studio is a new preloaded app centered around generative AI. You just give it some text prompts, pick a style, and it does its thing. It's great for fun or memes, but I'm struggling to find a practical use for it, especially because it can't generate humans at all. Magic Editor got a boost with some new AI features. It can now auto-frame your photos, giving you different framing options from the original shot. Plus, there's this new Reimagine button that lets you edit photos by just typing what you want, and the AI handles the rest. It's pretty hit or miss, but honestly, it makes Magic Editor more useful than before. At least now, the edits aren't totally random. Inside Google Photos, there's a new AI tool called Zoom Enhance. It lets you zoom into any photo and then uses AI to fill in the gaps between pixels, so you end up with a photo that should look better than the original. From my experience, it's a little underwhelming. As long as you're not expecting miracles, it's a decent tool to have. Honestly, it's better than nothing. There's a brand new screenshots app because the Pixel 9 can now use AI to scan your screenshots to pull relevant information out of them. This allows you to search for any information that was in the screenshots. All the processing is apparently done locally and not on the cloud, so you don't have to worry about Google seeing any sensitive screenshot data. And finally, the phone comes with 1 free year of Gemini Advance, which includes better integration inside of Google Apps plus Gemini Live, Google's natural conversation-based chatbot. If you ask me, the free version of Gemini seems like more than enough for most people, but I'll have to live with Gemini Advance for a little longer to see if it's actually worth paying for. Right now, I'd probably say no because nothing about it screams game changer for me. So yeah, that's my take on the Pixel 9 Pro XL. Google's big focus on AI is cool and expected, but it kind of overshadows the meaningful upgrades this phone actually got. They really listened to fan feedback and made some solid improvements. It still has that classic Pixel DNA with great cameras and smart features, but now it also comes with an ultrasonic fingerprint scanner, an improved modem, better thermals thanks to the vapor chamber, longer battery life, and of course, a fresh new look. The AI features are fun, but it's these core upgrades that really make the difference and why I feel like this is a much more well-rounded phone now. Raw performance is still behind the curve, and I don't love that it's more expensive, but that seems to be a common theme this year. As usual, thank you so much for watching. Until the next one, I'm out of here. Bye!